Hi and welcome to my channel. My name is Miss Bubbles. So before I talk about the topic at hand, I'm going to say a couple of words about the speed paint in the background. So I drew my character Alder. You're going to see him in a moment there, and he's a religious boy in his universe. This is exactly what he's doing in the drawing. And now let's get to talking about grayscale. So first of all, why would you even want to try grayscale? Well, first of all, you can see clearly the values and the contrast of the painting even before you start coloring. It's also much easier to plan the focal point where you want to draw the viewer's eyes. For example, in my piece, the focal point is Alder's face, which your eyes are drawn to because it's in the middle of the painting and everything else is framing it. But of course, everything can't be perfect, and as such, grayscale to color also has its flaws. Even though it's great in the initial stage, it makes the coloring stage much harder. Well, it's not entirely true that it's much harder, but more the colors that you're choosing and using become more muddy, so you have to put in more work to put in the values that you want to see in the end. But despite everything, I'm very happy I tried it, and in my opinion, I think every artist should try it at least once. Now, I was a little dumb, don't do what I did. I was like, yeah, I can do that without any research or anything, so I just jumped in. I wouldn't say it was a total disaster, but I was struggling when I got to the coloring stage. So on that note, let's talk about a couple of things that I took from this drawing and learned from it, so you won't have to make the same mistake as me. So I didn't think about it, but I would keep the darker colors and the whole value thing for the thumbnail for the drawing and not for the drawing itself. And I don't mean by that don't use grayscale at all, more the fact that you have to keep in mind that you're going to color the drawing later. For example, one of my problems was that I did the stones very dark and I didn't expect that I will have to use very light colors under it to get darker tones in the end. And also I had my character there, and of course characters have their own unique colors and it's a bit harder to play with them. It's not like the grass that you can have it a bit lighter or a bit darker, it doesn't really matter. So of course I asked myself how other artists do it. So of course I did my research after I finished my drawing, and so I noticed it's used more as a shading tool. And what I mean by that, they mostly didn't block the gray values like I did. They left a lot of white and the shading mostly came from the grays, which totally makes sense because you want to see the original color that you put under the grays. And what's good in that is that when you do grayscale, you want to put your layer on multiply, and when you do that, the white color doesn't affect the layer below, just the grays. And I think I will totally try it again with the proper technique. I can't complain as much because it worked out in the end. After all that yapping about techniques of grayscale and how it works, I want to talk a little bit on why I personally chose to use it. So as any artist have sometimes their stages and different quirks, I woke up one day and decided that I don't like my rendering style anymore, and so my search for a new style began, and I'm trying different techniques at the moment and new things. So grayscale was just one of the new things that I was trying. Actually, I enjoyed it a lot. One of the great things that I found in grayscale, which is also an obvious thing about grayscale, you don't have to think about color. Shocking, am I right? But besides the irony of it, it actually made my drawing process a bit more pleasant. I could actually turn my brain off for much longer than I usually do when I draw, and I just could focus on the shapes and shades and how I technically do it, which also made me over focus on these stones. Like half of the speed paint is just the stones, but that's besides the point. So thanks for everyone who stayed till this point of my yapping. It's my first video, so I want to hear everyone's opinion on it. Don't forget to subscribe and like the video if you stayed till now. I will leave you to it. Enjoy the rest of my speed paint.